Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I present to you Scrub Zero. Now, I haven't gotten to this yet, so I think I did, but I didn't get into detail. I did a short on it, but Daniel Jones, minutes before the deadline, the tag deadline on Tuesday, agreed to, and later that night, by the end of the night, signed a deal, an extension with the New York Giants, because he was still technically under contract till the new league year. So he got the contract extension. It's a 4-year deal with 160, at least according to reports, because the Giants have not confirmed nor denied this, but according to reports, it's a 4-year deal, $160 million, and $82 million guaranteed at signing. Practically guarantees $92 million. If the Giants really need to, they can get out of it after 2 years, depending on how well or poorly he plays. And chances are, at the end of the 2025 season, they'll either extend him or let him go, depending on what the situation is. But that's the situation. $12 million of 2025 base salary. $12 million of the 2025 salary is fully guaranteed when March comes next year. So he in essence, it's roughly $12.5 million, $112.5 million deal for 3 years. Because I highly doubt there's no way they're gonna let him play that 4th year with a $56 million cap hit. They're at that point they'll either part ways with him, and there'll only be $9 million in dead money, or they'll flat out, or they'll extend him. They'll extend him or they'll cut him. One of the two ways. They cut him, it'll only be $9 million in dead cap. If they extend him, well, then the money gets spread out once again and all that BS. If they cut him before the 2025 season, before they play games or whatnot, they cut him then. It's an $18 million hit in the dead cap, but they'd save like $20 million. So they do have an out after 2 years. Realistically, it'll be 3, depending on how he plays and whatnot. There is an injury guarantee for $30 million of the 2025 salaries guaranteed for injury at signing. So he gets injured, that money will be guaranteed. And there's some workout bonuses and other incentive escalators that could give him $35 million more and whatnot. Basically, people have lost their minds. I understand. Yeah, he's not that great. I don't think he's that great, but it's not my money. And listen, he played his best year when he needed to, when his contract was coming to expire. He played well. He won a playoff game. From everything from what joeschoen said in his press conference, and we know what John Mara thinks of him. They love him. For better or for worse, they love him. They made sure to get this deal done. They could have accepted having him under the franchise tag, but obviously, and they had plans to get around that, but you'd be up against it if you had to give him if it was $32 million against the cap. Considering this team still has a lot of holes to fill, they need some wide receivers, healthy wide receivers. They need healthy players. They definitely need inside linebackers. They need depth on the defensive line. They need to find a center. that can stay healthy and finally solidify that spot. They've been working with some guys who, like Nick Gates, I like, but I want an actual center, not one you have to convert to, not a player you have to convert to a center. Kind of tired of that. I'm not saying it can't work, but it's time the Giants get that sorted out, because they, especially with all the injuries to that position, they kind of need to figure that out now. They could use another tight end, and regardless of what they do with Saquon, they need another back. I don't know who that back's going to be. I don't know if they feel they have him on the roster, if they're going to go free agency for that, or if they're going to go through the draft. But regardless, they need another running back. They need some more corners. Like, for whatever reason, the Giants love Adoree Jackson. He's okay. I honestly don't think he's a number one. I don't even know if he's a number two, but I damn sure ain't got no confidence in him as a number one. But they need more corners. They need a slot corner. They need an outside corner. They might have answers in the slot on the roster already. I just don't like Darnell Holmes because he commits too many untimely penalties, and he can be had. And they're still got to figure out Julian Love. If they're gonna give him a new contract, if they're gonna let him go, depending on how much he's asking for. They'll see how the market plays out. It's gonna be interesting, but I'm not losing my head over Daniel Jones because I expected, first of all, the cap is increasing, quarterback contracts are increasing, so this was to be expected. Regardless of what everyone else thinks, this really was to be expected, that Jones was going to be pushing around this number. People saying 40 million is too much, maybe it is. But considering where the market is and the timing, because it's not so much about whether you're better than this guy or that guy. Remember, free agency isn't really about being good, it's about being free. There's another guy who I'll talk about. I'll wait for the temporary period. Oh, the legal negotiation period. Excuse me. I'll wait for that to get started and see where that goes before I talk about that guy. That guy being Lamar Jackson, because he should be paid by now. But I'll get deeper into that topic in the week. Not now. Now is not the time for that. But as you see, Geno Smith got paid. I didn't take a look at the details of his contract, but from what Jose told me, it seems like he'd really get out of it after 1 year. So, and Derek Carr got paid, and he got about 150 million. And Jones is younger than both of those guys, and he had a good season. I know the numbers weren't great, but you gotta look at the tape. And for what the Giants asked of him, forget comparing to other guys, because you're never going to be satisfied once you start going down that route. For what he was asked to do from the Giants, and quite honestly, I still personally don't think he's a quote-unquote franchise quarterback. The Giants feel he is. That we can go back and forth on that. But I will say I was hot after the first Dallas game because he played awful. I don't care what anyone says. I know what I saw. He played awful. He wasn't the only reason they lost, but he was a key reason why they lost. And I thought he should have been benched at that point. Now, to his credit, before even that, I will admit that was probably prisoner of the moment. I was hot then, understandably so, but to Daniel Jones' credit, he proved me wrong at that point. I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. He did prove me wrong as far as him being benched. He did get banged up, but he bounced back. He had a good year. He did what the team asked of him. And obviously, like Joe Shane said, if he knew it was going to go like this, they would have given him the 5th-year option. But at that point in time, you couldn't give him the 5th-year option. It wouldn't have been a good business move. Like, we could all talk about hindsight and whatnot, but the Giants made the right decision at that point, and so I'm not upset with how it turned out. Now that they have some options, they can make some moves. Regardless, even if they didn't keep Daniel Jones, they need some wide receivers anyway. And then where they are in the draft is in a good spot, and who's available isn't ideal either. Like maybe, but I know how the Giants are, so they weren't getting Lamar Jackson anyway. So here we are. This is who the Giants are. This is the guy they went with. I don't hate the move. I'm not in love with it either, but I understand it. And above all else, I will say this: I'm happy for Daniel Jones, because regardless of what any person feels, he did what he was asked of by this current staff. He got through the season healthy, and he got himself a new contract. And considering how everyone was talking about him, regardless of what I think of him as a player, I am honestly happy that he got his money, because he's not a bad dude. He works hard. I wouldn't call him Eli Jr. He's got a way to go before I'd say that, but yeah, I mean, he made it happen when he needed to make it happen. So that's just my thoughts on it. It's going to be interesting to see how not only the Giants but the other teams in the league go about free agency and then the draft. But we're a little ahead of it's a little early to be talking about draft stuff, at least in my opinion. For me, anyone who does, I'm not mad at you. Just I'm focused on free agency right now. So on that note, I'm gonna end it here. I appreciate everyone checking this out. Make sure you hit the like button, share the video, subscribe if you're new. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the posts. I mentioned Jose. Shout out to my guy, Jose Rodriguez. Make sure you subscribe to him. One True Emperor. He'd be doing his thing with the games. Welcome to HDTV. It's got the Beer Third. I think he changed his name, channel name. He's going by his name. Lamar Spencer. But make sure you go Sport Bear. He always doing his thing in the games. He's not really. He doesn't do well losing, but that's all good. He's still my guy. That's still my guy. Shout out to my guy Saturn. Somewhere Past Never. He does anime stuff and game content. And so make sure you check him out too. Anyone else who I didn't mention, my apologies. I appreciate all of y'all. And until next time, I'm Scrub Zero. I'll catch y'all on the flip side.